joined with our guest, Dr. Robledo from Arizona Laser and Skin, and our co-host,
Kurt Wilhelm. I want to be able to, for those of you who have just tuned in, Dr. Robledo is a renowned cosmetic surgeon, as well as ear, nose, and throat specialist, and has several other licenses as well, if you care to share. Probably a big long list. But the things that apply today is that he has a very strong background in nutrition and anti-aging. So we're talking about today anti-aging from the standpoint of prevention. And where we left off from our previous segment, we went deeper into health is related to exercise, but then we also wanted to talk about anti-aging from the standpoint of antioxidants. Antioxidants started becoming a big buzzword about a decade ago, and we never quite knew, is vitamin C all we need? But from the standpoint of antioxidants, tell us a little bit about that and
Sure.
the best way to ingest good antioxidants.
You know, what happens in our body, our chemical reactions, is that there's a lot of free radicals that are produced as a consequence of these reactions. And if you don't do something to take them away, they're going to cause damage at our cellular
So-
level.
oxygen is what we need, and the oxygen is what makes us getting old. Is
It's
that what it is?
sure. Well, we call it oxidation, but it really has other chemical reactions. You get a lot of free radicals, especially the hydrogen free radicals, and the, oxygen is only one way. You know, we do have other pathways by which we
Have
develop
free
chemical
radicals.
reactions and develop free radicals. And but all these free radicals can cause damage, and the way you get rid of them is by ingesting more foods that have antioxidant properties. You know, such as grapes. Grapes, especially red grapes, are very good for antioxidants.
And red wine.
Red wine, exactly. It doesn't always have to be just bland. You know, it can be a pleasurable diet, like wine.
Now, red
certain
grape
nuts.
juice, for those that don't actually drink grape juice, has a similar effect, correct?
And plain grapes also. You know, it doesn't have to be wine. It can be grape juice, grapes, wine, and many nuts, and also citric foods and plants. You know, a lot of them have antioxidant properties. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that probably, if you incorporate in your diet, is going to help to maintain a healthier, youthful-looking body. The radicals can cause severe cell damage, and on our skin, it'll translate into having that breakdown of collagen, thinner skin, more lines, more wrinkles.
Great. And then from the standpoint of the combination of foods, is there any advice that you would give as far as, you know, some people love fruits and that seems to be all they eat. Some people love meats, that seems to be all they eat. But, you know, is there a good set of advice for the balance of eating and combinations at each meal?
The balanced diet has suffered or has undergone through so many changes and
Debate.
yes, and debates over the years, you know, as to what really is a balanced diet. I believe nowadays we can all come to the consensus that a diet with a stronger plant base is a lot healthier for you, but you do need to incorporate the other food groups, meats, dairy products, and they all play a role. I think in appropriate amounts, not overdoing it. Meats are essential and they're very good for you. But I think a diet a little stronger on the plant base is probably going to be a little healthier for us.
Supplemented with the red wine.
Absolutely. A couple of things to think about too is that I'm not a diabetic, but obviously in being a person who lost 85 pounds, I have watched the glycemic spike index. So if you go and look up the glycemic index, you can actually start looking at foods that spike the blood sugar in your body. And if you're not a diabetic, you want to keep your blood sugar from spiking as much as possible. So for example, grapefruits have a glycemic index of about 35 versus grape juice, which might have more like a 75 or an 80. So it might spike a little bit, which if your blood sugar is high, what you're eating actually gets stored a little bit more. If you're already at the ideal weight, perfect. You have, Dr. Lee is a I think, at her ideal weight. So, for her, that's a great thing. But you may want to look for fruits and vegetable combinations that don't have glycemic spikes, and also just something that I learned over the years is that if eating carbs is good, you don't want to completely cut carbs out of your diet. However, vegetables are carbs. So as many leafy and colored vegetables as you can have inside of your salad, in combination with a reasonable amount of protein, in combination with some fruits or vegetables that don't cause a glycemic spike, then you can actually have a long period of time of food in your stomach before, a few hours later, you're not hungry, even though you should probably still eat every few hours.
That's correct. I think in that take, is you can eat sugars as long as they're in natural forms, in fruits, sure, carbohydrates and vegetables. When you eat it in that form, it takes the body many hours to break it down and to finally extract those sugars. By that time, it's done in a gradual process, and that's what you want. You don't want spikes. You want something just gradual. And I think as long as we avoid the processed sugars or the foods with high contents of processed sugars, I think we're okay there. The other thing I wanted to talk about, just briefly, is on the stress.
Mm-hmm.
Stress ties in with nutrition, ties in with diet. Stress by itself can affect the whole system to the point where it can not only cause aging, but it can actually cause us to be ill. And nowadays it's very unlikely for someone to live without stress because of the type of society that we live in. Stress is part of life. And if you don't have a method or a system to release that stress, at the end of the day, it just kind of builds up. And over years, this can have a detrimental effect. Stress elevates our needs for, when the body goes into a stress mode, so the body has to produce more catecholamines, epinephrine, norepinephrine, steroids, and all these break down, like the glucocorticoids, they break down sugars, they create the spikes that are not good. All this has an effect on our cardiovascular system, on our organs, and so eventually stress left untreated is going to have a detrimental effect on our whole system, and not only affect our organs, our heart, cardiovascular system, but it's going to age us. And so I think besides exercise and diet, we need to find the way to release the stress on a daily form, and that's something that we're not taught. It's something that's intangible, so nobody really teaches you, how to release stress at the end of the day. But in many cultures and in ancient times, they knew about this and they had developed systems to release it, such as meditation, and yoga and Tai Chi exercises.
I think that would be a good subject that we're going to cover, just stress, because it's a big
Absolutely.
field.
It is.
Yes.
And I think we'll let that double up as our health tip of the day is to release stress. That's a good home remedy to be able to release stress, whether it's meditation, yoga, whatever your form of releasing stress at the end of each day. And it looks like we're just about out of time. Is that right, Dr. Lee?
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks to all of our listeners to join us on the show. This is Kurt Wilhelm, your co-host of Ageless Living here on Voice American World Talk Radio.
And this is Dr. Tom Lee. We'll see you next week.
And thanks, Dr. Robledo, for coming to join us from
Thank you
Arizona
very much for
Veterans Camp.
inviting me.
See you next week.